Hi everyone, welcome once again to A.O.S Abroad. Thank you very, very much for joining today. Really do appreciate everyone for coming on board. And today we have another very interesting topic, a topic centered on visa-free countries for Canadian permanent residents. And yes, I have had an article I wrote about this about 2 years ago. Yes, I think 2 years ago, in the month I wrote it in the year 2023, where I talked about 11 visa-free countries or visa on arrival countries that Canadian permanent residents who are Nigerians can actually visit by virtue of their status in Canada. But today, I saw on the CIC News website, which is the Canadian Immigration and Citizenship News website, cicnews.com. I saw on their website where they talked about 8 destinations Canadian permanent residents, now they are being general, can visit visa free within a short flight. So this is kind of a twist to the first article I wrote, which was 11 countries you as a Nigerian who have Canadian permanent resident status can actually visit. But this one is just talking about, maybe for instance you are on a flight and maybe you want to go to the Middle East, like Malaysia for instance. You can visit some other countries whilst you understand, moving, or whilst you are going on that particular flight trip. It reminds me of when I went to the Middle East, and that's why I talked about the Middle East. When I went to the Middle East, there were some countries that we could visit. You understand? You can visit like Turkey, you can visit like Dubai, whilst you are actually going to your final destination. So this is something similar in this conversation, in this article, CIC News, by the article that was written by Janice Rodriguez. She explained 8 different countries that you can visit visa free. You don't need to get a visa to actually visit those countries. Why are we talking about even these countries? You understand? Why are we talking about this particular kind of thing? Because many people, many times, you guys know that we always talk about how you could get visas. You understand how you could become permanent residents and the likes. But today, we are kind of taking it differently because sometimes you need to know the advantages, the benefit of you having some certain things. If you are maybe like an international student in Canada, a temporary foreign worker, a visitor, you understand, you may not have the opportunity that the people or the immigrants who are permanent residents in Canada, you may not have the opportunity they have. You understand, by virtue of actually getting their PR status in Canada. So let's start talking about the article or reading the article out. So Janice Rodriguez said one underrated benefit. Now note that one underrated benefit of having Canadian permanent residence status is the travel opportunities it affords. Now that's it. One of the things that people underrate. You know, when I was coming to Canada, I made a pact to myself that at least in a year, I should travel at least once. Like, because why would I have the PR status that allows me the opportunity to travel to countries, but I don't use it? It's as if I'm wasting the status. It's as if I'm wasting the visa. Do you understand? So I made it a pact to myself that every year, at least once in a year, I should, you understand, make use of that permanent resident status and travel, you understand, to another country, benefit from. And that's what I did last year. Last year, I remembered I traveled to the Middle East, just like I said, you understand, and I spent about 3 weeks, I and my partner, and we had wonderful experiences. You understand, took a lot of pictures, videos. We had fun. We met a lot of people, even Nigerians. Yes, Nigerians that were even outside the diaspora. We met people from about 70 something different countries, and the experience was phenomenal. The experience was wonderful. We had so much to eat. We learned so much by meeting people, and we also had the opportunity to make memories, basically make memories, because now this year, for instance, we have been in Canada for so long. There have been a lot of things, a lot of business opportunities, a lot of, you understand, studies that we had to do, and we didn't have time to, you understand, do some of the things that we did last year. But as of last year, when we were able to travel, and this year when we have still not yet traveled, we have not missed anything, or how will I say, we don't feel left out, because we know that we made use of the opportunity when it came to actually travel out and, you understand, to have fun in the process. So you too, if you want to become a permanent resident or you are already a permanent resident, don't let your permanent resident status just you understand get useless. Yes, there are some benefits that you get whilst you are in Canada. Like as a permanent resident in Canada, you get benefits from the Canadian government, you get benefits for just being here as a permanent resident. But sometimes it may do you a good service for you to also use it outside of the country since it is available. If you don't use it, it will just waste away. So why don't you just use the opportunity? So permanent residents, PRs of Canada, can gain visa-free entry into a number of countries. In fact, I remember that I listed 11 countries that Nigerians can actually visit visa-free or visa on arrival, you understand? And many of those countries, they are needing or they are willing to actually make you enter the country by virtue of the permanent resident status you have in Canada. Do you understand? Now, again, similarly, here, if for instance you are moving from one country to another, I remember when we were coming to Canada the very first time ever, we as Nigerians actually went through Egypt. You understand? We went through Egypt and we stayed in Cairo overnight. Do you understand? Before our flight now took off from Cairo again and brought us to Canada. So something similar like that is what they are talking about here, where you have the opportunity that if you are a Canadian PR, a Canadian permanent resident, planning a getaway, there are some destinations that are a short flight away. And once we mean a short flight away, once we are talking about some destinations you can visit, it may not really cost you so much to actually visit those. And if, for instance, you are not yet a permanent resident, you're listening to us speak, understand it that once you become a permanent resident, you have the opportunity to visit some of these countries visa free and to, you understand, experience a new culture, experience a new adventure whilst you are actually whilst you are moving or going to another country. Now, in the table below, for those that are online, you may not see the table, especially if you're not on YouTube. Um, for each destination country, CIC News has listed how long Canadian permanent residents can enter the country for without needing a visa, along with the duration of a direct flight from each of several major Canadian airports, if direct flights are available as of the time of the writing, of course. Now, the very first country that they listed here that you can actually visit visa free as a permanent resident who is actually boarding a flight is Bermuda. Bermuda, that's where many people will know the Bermuda Triangle, for instance. That country allows you to actually visit for a short stay under 3 hours. So you can be in the country under 3 hours. You understand? Now, if your flight, for instance, if your flight is going from Montreal under 3 hours, you understand, and have the opportunity to visit the country. I remember when we were in Egypt, we able stayed for more than 6 hours. You understand? Or close to 6 hours because our flight was delayed. We had to actually lodge in a resort. We lodged in a resort. We ate, we slept, we woke up again before we left. So number one, Bermuda is a very good country that you can actually visit visa free while you're on transit. Number two is the Bahamas. Oh, who doesn't want to go to the Bahamas? I think everybody wants to go to the Bahamas because it has a lot of wonderful, you understand, sights to see. And the beauty of this country is that you can visit for up to 30 days, 30 whole days, 30 whole days. So you don't need to rush like Bermuda. You don't need to rush. You can visit, you can stay there for up to a month before you say, okay, yes, let me move and go to my destination. And from the flight from Toronto would last you about 3.5 hours to get there. You understand? From Toronto, like Toronto Persian Airport, for instance, it will last you 3.5 hours to get there. So you have a lot of time to actually wine and dine and enjoy yourself in the Bahamas. The third place that you could go to visa free, you understand, as a permanent resident is Costa Rica. Costa Rica also allows you to stay for up to 30 days, up to a month, and it's just about 5.5 hours right from Toronto Persian International Airport. And these are places that for cheap You can actually enjoy yourself. You can have fun. You can even go with your friends. You can go with your group and have the opportunity. Oh, but why am I yawning? You have the opportunity to actually what? To learn a new culture, to enjoy yourself, to build memories. You understand? Create memories, basically. Dominican Republic is another place that you can actually visit. That's the fourth place on the list. And for Dominican Republic, they said you can stay for short visits and 4.5 hours from either Montreal or Toronto. You understand? Airport. Jamaica is another place you can go for short trips, and within 4 to 5 hours, you can get there from Toronto or from Montreal, or 6.5 hours from Calgary Airport. And it allows you the opportunity to as well stay and enjoy yourself. Oh my, oh, how am I yawning? Seems I'm tired. Mexico is another country that you can stay now. Mexico is even much. You can stay for up to 180 days. That is crazy. Up to half a year. Up to half a year. Do you understand? And you can go to Mexico about 4 hours from Toronto. You get there. From Montreal is about 4.5 hours. You understand? From Vancouver is about 5.5 hours. And from Calgary is about 5 hours, 5.5 or 5 and 45 minutes. 5 hours 45 minutes. So basically, what we are saying is that you can enjoy yourself in Mexico for up to 6 months before you move. That's the beauty without needing a visa. You're not going to need a visa to actually be in Mexico. That reminds me of my cousin Tosin, who actually went to Mexico. I think he has been there for like 2 times, about 2 times now. You understand? He goes in, he spends a weekend, he comes back. Sometimes he goes for long holidays. You understand? Enjoys himself with his girlfriend, and everybody goes home happy. You understand? So Mexico is another wonderful place. Once you have your permanent resident status in Canada, you can actually visit visa free without needing any visa, like you understand, going to the US. Now, St. Martin. St. Martin is the seventh country. St. Martin is the seventh country you can visit up to 90 days at a stretch. Okay, thank you, Akin Losheshe Michael, for liking our live on TikTok. So you can visit St. Martin up to 90 days. That's 3 months, and it will just take you about 5 hours to actually get there from Toronto Pearson Airport in Ontario. And the beauty of this place is these are countries that are just developing, or I'll not say just developing, but they are countries that people don't really know them when it comes to like St. Martin. When it comes to tourism, when it comes to visiting, it's not a country that has so much strict rules for you to actually adhere to before you can actually enter the country. So you can take the advantage of visiting that country right now. Thank you, Michael. I see a lot of your likes on TikTok. You can take the advantage of visiting many of those countries, getting that, how will I call it now, that travel history, bopping up your travel resume because your resume is your passport, your international passport. You beep it up with many of these travels to show that you are not a novice when it comes to actually traveling internationally. And that could actually even help you later on when you are trying to get a job that requires you to travel a lot. Now, Turks and Caicos Islands. That's the last place in this list where you can actually go for short trips. Oh, good one. Thank you, Michael. So you can go for short trips and under 4 hours from Toronto or from Montreal, 4 hours plus, you can get to that country and have the opportunity to visit and actually have fun whilst you are there. Now, there's a little breakdown apart from the what do you call it now? The table that we just discussed right now. For Bermuda, which is the first country we talked about, if you want to go there, it gives you visa-free country for short stays. And they said direct flights from Toronto to Hamilton, the capital of Bermuda, are approximately 3 hours. And they said Bermuda is a British overseas territory in the North Atlantic, known for its colorful buildings, its turquoise waters, and unique blend of British island culture. Its capital, Hamilton, offers dining, shopping, and historic charm, while the island's famous pink sand beaches like Horseshoe Bay are great for relaxing or swimming. So visitors can Also explore the UNESCO listed town of St. George, or tee off on one of the Bermuda's golf courses. Now, why am I even having this today? Is because we have also been looking at it that, okay, some of the countries we can go for very minimal costs without needing to break the bank. You understand? One of our clients actually asked about it, and we were talking about it, and he just said, you understand, all work and no play basically make Jack a dull boy. So he's thinking of it. Where exactly can he go? You understand? Now that he's a permanent resident for up to a year right now, where can he go? Have fun. You understand? At least after all the work and everything he has been doing for close to a year now, go and, you understand, refresh his memory, refresh his brain, and have fun with his family. And we're just looking at some of these countries, and we said, man, it's even cheap. It's cheaper to go to many of these countries than to say you want to kill yourself and go to like the UK or the US, or you understand, Australia and other places like that. Now, that's the first one, Bermuda. The second country is the Bahamas. They are giving us a short, you understand, summary of some of these countries. They said for Bahamas, you have entry visa free for up to 30 days. You can stay there for up to a month. You understand? And for me, for those that know me, especially the country that we went to in the Middle East last year, I spent about 3 weeks there. The plan now is if I'm to travel out of the country this year, you understand, if it's not Nigeria, because I may want to go to Nigeria to, you understand, to go for vacation because I've missed Inyo. I've missed pounded yam. I've missed pounded yam. I've missed, you understand, that's how would I call it? That nostalgic moment when it comes to you being at home. I've missed a lot. You understand? I've missed that. I've been here for like 2 years right now, and sometimes when I think of the food we eat here, it's nothing compared to the food we have back home. So if I'm not going to Nigeria, you understand, if I'm not going for holidays or vacation in Nigeria, I would go to some of these countries we are talking about. So Michael is laughing. Yes, I'll go to some of these countries, whether Bermuda or whether the Bahamas. Since they said Bahamas, you can stay there for, you understand, um up to 30 days. And they said direct flights from Toronto to Nassau, which is the capital, is under 3.5 hours. And the flights from other parts of Canada may require stopovers in Toronto and or in other countries. So the highland country, the Bahamas, is known for its crystal clear waters, white sand beaches, and water sports, making it a great destination for anyone who wants to snorkel, who not wants to swim, or simply relax in a scenic setting. Its capital, Nassau, is also famous for its pastel colored buildings, history, and luxury resorts. So if I, for instance, want to go to Bahamas, I know that because I like to swim. So I will go there because of the wonderful waters, to swim, to have fun, to, you understand, and make memories. So for the special requirements, if any, permanent residents need to have a return ticket to go to the Bahamas. You need a return ticket. You need a passport with a Canadian permanent resident card. Yes, the PR card that you are issued in Canada. You need that with expiry date 3 months or more after return from the Bahamas in case of direct travel. You understand? And 6 months in case of transitioning through other countries such as what, the US. So they are just telling you that because it's Bahamas, they have more requirements for you to get your Canadian, and of course you need to even travel because if you want to get back, I remember when I went to the Middle East here last year and I wanted to get back to the country, enter the country, I didn't need to show visa in Canada airports. All I just needed was to show my permanent resident card, and with the permanent resident card, all they just said is, "Oh, welcome back home." That's the beauty. It's the beauty of becoming permanent resident because they know you have said you want to stay here permanently. So basically, Canada is now your home. Do you understand? That's just literally Canada is now your home. You understand? Because when I went to the airport and I just actually got in and I saw the, what they call these people, self, the Canadian Border Service agency officers. When they just saw me, they just, "Oh, are you a resident or are you a traveler?" Because there's a difference. People don't know there's a difference. A traveler is someone that is not like you are an international student, you are a temporary foreign worker, you are a visitor, you are just someone temporary. But when you are a resident, you are either a permanent resident or a citizen. Do you understand? And once they say citizen, or I say citizen, permanent resident, when I just showed my permanent resident card, all they just said is welcome back home. That's just it. And they will just, you just be going, no issues. So of course you need your Canadian permanent resident card. Michael is saying, wow, yes, you need it. You need your permanent resident card anytime you are going out of the country, so that when you are coming in, to be hassle free. You don't need any visa. You don't. It's just that card. It's just like the NIN card in Nigeria that they always give you. Something similar to that is what they will give you in Canada, and it is just that you use to enter and come in anytime. You don't need any reason safe to leave, because even as a student you need to have a reason. That's okay. It's not that you cannot leave. You may have reason to leave, and the only thing is some people, they left like that, did not allow them to enter again. That one too happens. You know, but as a permanent resident, you don't even need reason to travel. If you have the money, go, come back anytime you want. And that's exactly what we did last year. So Costa Rica is another country. Let's move on. This country allows you visa-free entry for up to 30 days, a month. Maybe it's one of these countries I will go at the end of the day, because man, I don't mean like, okay, some of our clients, some of them just go for 2 days, 3 days, especially because they are working. Of course, I understand they are working for an establishment, or they are working for the government, so they need, you can't just go and not, you understand, especially if it is what they call it, all these paid leaves. They always give them paid leaves, is just like few days. Do you understand? So they have to just go and come back quickly. But when it comes to we people like us that are self-employed, I can work from anywhere, any country I am. I don't need to necessarily be in Canada. So like last year when I left Canada and went to the Middle East, I spent 3 weeks there. In fact, when our ticket was already, when it was fast approaching to actually return safe, we didn't want to return. But because everybody that we were there with already, they're already going to Nigeria, some people were going to Dubai, some people were going to US, and we just said, okay, let us come back. So we just came back. But what we are saying in essence is, this country like Costa Rica allows you 30 days to be in the country visa free as a permanent resident. So if I want to go to the country now, I know that up to 30 days I don't need a visa. So I can stay there for 4 weeks, enjoy myself, have good time, spend good time with my family there. You understand? And of course, they said the flight time, direct flight from Toronto to San Jose, which is the capital, is just like 5.5 hours. And they said Costa Rica is known for its lush natural beauty and wildlife. The Central American country has a lot to offer visitors. Nature and adventure lovers will find plenty to keep them entertained, from hiking trails and active volcanoes to wildlife spotting and natural hot springs. Yes, I've heard about their hot springs. Their hot springs is one of the wonderful tourist attractions there. You know, hot springs, you just, it's like a bath. You understand, like all the sauna they do, even though it's not like sauna, but you enjoy yourself. You stay inside the hot springs. You understand, with your spouse or with your partner, have fun. You understand, let your body feel relaxed, basically, in that place. So, with a coast on both the Pacific and the Caribbean, Costa Rica also features a number of beaches for relaxation or water sports. So, special requirements for Costa Rica, if any, is that to enter Costa Rica, Canadian permanent residents must show a valid permanent resident card. Remember when I was talking about you entering Canada back? You understand, you need the PR card. But for Costa Rica, they don't collect any visa. The only thing they require from you is show that permanent resident card that you have from Canada. And it is that card you use to enter, with at least 1 day of validity and proof of funds of at least 100 US dollars for each month of their stay. Are you kidding me? $100 in Canadian dollars, that's about $150 or $130, if I'm not right. So that's not even much for a whole 1 month of stay. If it is US, all this Australia, all these countries that want to stress themselves, not stressing immigrants, they will say you have thousands of dollars, thousands, before you can use your proof of funds and show them that yes, you are capable to stay there. But this $100, that's all. Do you know how much $100 is? Like 150,000 naira in Nigerian currency. It's not even much for a whole year, for a whole month. I want my people, go and enjoy yourself in those countries. The Dominican Republic is another country that allows you visa-free entry for up to short visits, and direct flight from Toronto to Montreal to the resort town of Punta Cana takes around 4.5 hours for you to get there. Now, this Caribbean country is renowned for its beach resorts as well, and it's great for anyone looking for a relaxing break or water sports or nightlife. Away from the shoreline, Dominican Republic boasts picturesque waterfalls and natural or national parks. Now, I remember my friend, Don Bisco, who was, because he's not there again, who was in Dominican Republic. He was always telling me, that was even last year, is it last year or 5 year, to come visit. I was busy that time, so I couldn't go. But Dominican Republic is a wonderful place. It's a beautiful place. You can, you understand, get lost in, basically, in the enjoyment. Because he was telling me a lot of beautiful places, beautiful activities we could do there, and you understand, enjoying life. Because me, I like Igbadun. I don't like stress for my own life. So if you too also want to enjoy yourself, you can go to those places. So travelers can visit like Alcázar de Colón, a UNESCO heritage site, for a slice of history, or try whale watching for a memorable outdoor experience. Punta Cana, a popular destination, is also a great spot for pristine beaches. So a lot of beaches are there, very neat and wonderful beaches that you would enjoy yourself in. Now, Mexico, let's move on to Mexico. Mexico is also another place, and it's one of the countries that I've said on this list that allows visa-free entry for up to 180 days. I don't think there's any other country on this list that allows you to stay up to 6 months without a visa as a permanent resident of Canada. The opportunities are golden. So you can go through the direct flight from Toronto to Cancun and spend approximately 4 hours. Non-stop flights from Vancouver can take up to 6 hours. But Mexico, of course, is a world-renowned location for its beaches, for its delicious local cuisines, and for its jungles. In fact, their cuisine is one of the things I want to try as well, because there are a lot of, you understand, dishes that people talk about when it comes to Mexican meals that we need to try out, especially, of course, the one that is halal. So history buffs are bound to enjoy exploring Chichen Itza, one of the new seven wonders of the world, while adventure lovers can visit cenotes for a unique swimming experience. So Cancun and Riviera Maya are among the most popular destinations, known for its white sand beaches and all-inclusive resorts. I remember when my cousin actually went to Mexico. He was there in one of their beaches. He just sat there and he was enjoying himself. He had okay, Adaola AB, thank you very much. You give me a thumbs up on YouTube. Thank you very much. So if you look at that, I was talking about Mexico. My cousin that went there, after working for the bank for how many years, about 2 years in Canada, he said, "Oh, he wants to relax himself." He went there, he had some fun. It was just in the beach, you understand, getting some wonderful massage and, you understand, enjoying his life and sipping some juice. See, life no hard though. It's you that want to make it hard. Life is not hard. You understand? You can go as a permanent resident some of these countries and enjoy yourself. Get sports at least for like some few days. At least get sports over there. So Jamaica is another country that allows visa-free entry for short trips, and the direct flights from Toronto to Montego Bay, Montego Bay are just over 4 hours long. And Jamaica is a vibrant Caribbean island nation known for its lush landscapes surrounded by the Caribbean Sea, and it's famous for its beaches and laid-back atmosphere. So the Highland is a top choice for all-inclusive resorts, water sports, and nature adventures. Montego Bay and Negril offer stunning coastlines and nightlife, while visitors can also explore the Blue Mountains or visit the historic town of Port Royal. Now, let's move on. St. Martin also allows visa-free entry for up to what 90 days if you are a permanent resident of Canada. That's 3 months. And the direct flight from Toronto to St. Martin is under 5 hours. And for St. Martin is located in the Caribbean, and it is a vibrant highland destination and a constituent country within the kingdom of what? The kingdom of the Netherlands. So it is popular for its beaches and Dutch Caribbean charm, and visitors can explore bustling markets or relax at popular spots like Maho Beach. Do you understand? Now, Turks and Caicos Islands. This also allows visa-free entry for short trips. So direct flights from Toronto to Providencial, the main gateway island, that takes approximately 4 hours. And other Canadian cities may also require you to have stopovers. But Turks and Caicos is a British overseas territory consisting of the larger Caicos Islands and the smaller Turks Islands. Collectively, the archipelago is known for its calm, clear waters and white sand beaches. So, Grace Bay Beach in Providencial consistently ranks among the world's best beaches, and visitors can explore coral reefs, relax at upscale resorts, and or sample fresh seafoods in this country. So just note, almost all countries that are on this list, they require Canadian permanent resident holders. You understand, to travel with their passport. Of course, you have to travel with your passport, your international passport. You have to travel with your Canadian permanent resident card, because that's what they will use to know that you are a PR, you're a permanent resident in Canada. And you need to have a return ticket or onward flight ticket, whether you have a return ticket to come back to Canada, or you have an onward flight ticket to go to another country. You understand? You need it. Now, entry requirements may also change in the future, because countries may change their requirements. So it's always best for you to check with the official government or the embassy website before booking before booking your flight. So thank you very much, everyone. Once again, we come to the end of today's live session. If you have any questions, drop it in the comment section. Let us take your questions. Before now, we just talked about destinations that you could visit, from Bermuda to the Bahamas to Costa Rica to Dominican Republic to Jamaica to Mexico to St. Martin and to Turks and Caicos Islands. Those are the 8 different locations that we are talking about, that permanent residents can actually visit visa free within a short period, a short time period. So you can visit for some few hours or some few days, up to at most 6 months for the Mexican what they call it, or Mexico. So that shows that you have added advantage when it comes to you actually visiting. You understand? Or you understand, when it comes to you becoming a permanent resident of Canada, you can visit other countries visa free without the hassle of trying to get a visa to actually go to some of those countries. So thank you very much, everyone. If you have any questions, you can drop it on the comment section. Let's actually take your questions right now. If you don't have any questions, even if it's comments, you can drop the comments. We have been seeing some people like Michael dropping some comments. Drop your comments and we'll do justice to actually reading it out before we go on. But if we don't have any questions, then don't forget, every week, at least once a week, we always come on live to talk about trending topics when it comes to Canadian immigration. Today, we just said we should talk about something light, which is the visa-free countries for permanent residents in Canada. But subsequently, we are going to be talking about trending topics about Canada immigration, how you can actually visit Canada, how you can come here permanently to become a permanent resident, how you can work on your study permit, your visitor visa, your work permit, or even become a refugee applying for asylum. You understand, claiming asylum in Canada. Any which of those pathways, this is your channel to always come and get to learn. You understand? So as you know it, don't forget to like this, don't forget to share with your friends and your family. You understand? Comment on it. Even after this live session, if we see your comments or your DMs, you can send those direct messages. We'll respond to it. And don't forget, you can always go on our profile and click on the website link, our website link, aos.name.ng. Once you click on the website link, if you want to get started with your Canadian immigration, then of course we can actually get started with you through that website. Any one of you that is interested in regards to relocation to Canada, just click on the link, go on the profile and click on the link aos.name.ng. Whether you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're on YouTube, you can always go through there and actually get started with your immigration process together with us and with our immigration partners. So thank you very much, everyone. If we don't have any questions, we don't have any comments, then we'll call it a day. Thank you, everyone, and do have a lovely day ahead. Bye for now. Au revoir for our French speakers.